In this video, we will take you through the evolution of plant life, how it came from the water to the land, and how it became what it is today. As we all know, plant life started off in the water, with mosses and different algae, and as it lived there, it slowly began to move on to the land. The first plant to move on to land was the moss.
First, let's look at bryophytes. This moss is one type of bryophyte, but liverworts and hornworts are two other types of bryophytes. Bryophytes in general have no true vascular tissue, through which they can transport nutrients and water, so they are categorized as non-vascular plants. Because they have no veins and no true roots, they live close to the ground where their surroundings are consistently moist in order to absorb a good amount of water. As you can see here, the moss is growing underneath the eaves, where it receives extra rainwater. Because their cell walls are not reinforced, they support each other by forming a mat. The leaves and stems of bryophytes are coated with a cuticle, a waxy layer that helps to prevent water loss. However, because the cuticle also prevents gas exchange, bryophytes have adapted to form stomata. Each stoma is an opening in the cuticle through which CO2 can enter while minimizing water loss. In order to reproduce, bryophytes mainly produce eggs and sperm. Bryophytes alternate between a haploid generation, when sperm swims through the watering surroundings to fuse with an egg, and a diploid generation, when the plants produce spores which can independently grow into a new organism. This system of alteration is not only used by bryophytes, it can be observed in all plants. Now let's look at this fern, a type of seedless vascular plant. Unlike bryophytes, seedless vascular plants have distinct vascular systems, including roots and rigid stems. Their vascular system, essentially the veins of the plant, consists of a xylem and a phloem. The xylem transports water and minerals from the roots, while the phloem distributes sugar and other nutrients throughout the plant. Also, since their vascular tissues are very strong, they are able to stand upright on their own. This adaptation assists these seedless vascular plants in absorbing sunlight for photosynthesis. Underneath the leaves, you can see spore capsules that contain many spores, which the fern can use to reproduce.
Now we move on to gymnosperms. Its name refers to the gymnasiums of ancient Rome, where all of the men would work out naked, because you see the seeds of this plant are naked, they have no fruit around them. This name is a little misleading though. The seeds are protected by the cone. As you can see, the very hard outer covering protects the seeds inside from being eaten by herbivores, and if the seed was eaten, then the plant would no longer be able to reproduce and it would die. Another interesting adaptation of the seed is that plants now no longer need water to reproduce. They can just send their seeds off into the wind. They'll find the egg and the sperm will come together and make a new baby plant. And this is very useful because now they don't need water to reproduce anymore. Another useful feature of seeds is that when they hit the ground, they do not immediately have to sprout. They can lay dormant for years until the right conditions approach, so that they can then sprout to become newly formed plants. This adaptation allows for the maximum survival of baby plants. The youngest group of plants to be on this planet are angiosperms. If you have not already guessed, the new adaptation of the angiosperm is its flower and fruit. The petals are a flashing sign to pollinators that it has nectar. The bee, hummingbird, etc. is attracted to this bright color and drinks the nectar. All flowering plants are trying to get the attention of the pollinators, making them the first and best advertisers in the world. While it is drinking the nectar, the pollinator gets pollen on it from the stamen. Then when the creature flies off to drink nectar from another flower, the pollen will rub off into the stigma, fertilizing the eggs inside the other flower. The plant then makes a seed and builds a fruit around it. When the seed drops to the ground, the fruit provides a nice place for it to live, where it will be able to grow well. Hopefully this will make you take a second glance at your garden to marvel at its amazing adaptability.